Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hootie Hoo KSU Football Podcast, a Victorycast. As predicted, we got a second dub. We are 2-2 on the season. We have now equaled the same amount of victories as the 23-24 seasons combined. That is awesome. Completely awesome. There is a lot of takeaways from this game that I'm going to get to in just a second. Please like and subscribe. Please check out the Etsy store. Anything purchased there. I keep doing that. Anything purchased there will go directly back to the show. We very much appreciate the support. You can access the podcast on all platforms, both podcast form and also video form, on TikTok, on Facebook, on X, on YouTube, podcasting platforms, Amazon, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it, it is there. iHeartRadio, who knew? It's all there. So please like and subscribe. Ask any questions. Obviously, the more subscribers that one has, the more successful the show is. So we could use your support for sure. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it very much. So many things to get to. But before we break down the second victory, I do want to kind of just take a pause and just kind of see where we are in the college football season, because there is this theory I have going around my brain, and I'm just starting to notice some patterns. And I don't know if anybody else is starting to notice them as well. It seems like with the new present-day college football that we have, there's a couple things that may or may not be true. Now that we are able to pay players across the board, that all schools are allowed to pay players, there are rumors out there that kind of led to Saban removing himself from Alabama because Alabama was spending so much more than everybody else to get these great players. I now start to look at Clemson. I start kind of thinking around the same thing is, how much was Clemson paying versus their peers to get some of these players? We wouldn't know that because it wouldn't be made public knowledge. It was back in the days where things were kind of under the table. But now that everything's even, you're starting to see a lot more parity in college football. And I think it's fascinating. I really do. Let's go back to last year. Let's take it back 1 year. And last year you had, you know what? Let's not do that. Let's go back 2 years. Look at the best teams in the country 2 years ago in 2023, the year Michigan won the title controversially. In that title hunt, Michigan, as I said, had won the national title. University of Washington played them in the championship game and lost. In the playoffs for Texas and Alabama, who lost in the first rounds. This is when it was a 14 playoff. And Michigan went on to win. Right behind there at number 5 was Georgia and Florida State. So Florida State, we know last year completely fell off a cliff and went 2-10. Michigan, I think, ended up 6-6. I think Washington was around the same thing. The reason I was kind of focused on those 3 teams is because they were pretty much undefeated the year before, and the year after, they just plummeted dramatically. Now, this is versus the past where you very rarely ever see that. You kind of saw that with TCU once they played Georgia, but TCU isn't considered really a blue blood like those other teams are, not Washington, but Michigan and Florida State for sure. Okay, so we come into this year. Clemson was a playoff team. Clemson struggled and had to come back to beat Troy State. They are 1-3 this season. The wheels are falling off there at Clemson. University of Florida, given what the expectations were of the team, what they were showing by the end of last season, they had, I think, somewhere around like 70 yards passing last night for the entire game against Miami. All credit to Miami, but Florida has looked really bad offensively the last few weeks. There's some other teams out there that really caught my attention. You know, we talked on this podcast, we talked about Indiana, and we said that Indiana we thought we'd be overmatched against just because of the depth and playing the Big Ten. But yesterday, the University of Illinois played at at Indiana, and they got just obliterated. 63-10, I think, was the final score. Now, we go back to that Kennesaw State game, And Kennesaw State was in that game in the second quarter going into halftime. They pulled away. Indiana pulled away in the second half, but they were more competitive than what I saw from Illinois last night. So I thought that was interesting. Wisconsin is Wisconsin. Wisconsin's always supposed to be good and not be very good. That's just what Wisconsin does. I don't know. It just, in looking out there at the grand scheme of things with college football right now, who is the best team that you have seen? My vote would be complete team. My vote would be Oregon. Oregon looks like a juggernaut right now, but I don't know how much they've been tested. We're going to find that out this upcoming weekend against Penn State, who again has absolutely not been tested. So we're going to kind of figure out what's what this week when Penn State plays Oregon. Georgia looked gettable last week against Tennessee. Great game to pull it out, to beat Tennessee. They were off this week, Georgia was. But next week they play Alabama. And again, I think we're going to figure out what we've got. Is Alabama just not what Alabama is? Let me try that one more time. Is Alabama not... They still live underneath the umbrella of it's Alabama underneath Saban. I still believe people look at them that way. I think that's not the case any longer. But again, let's see. They've got the talent. They've got the players. They spend more than anybody probably, other than like at Ohio State, on recruits, Texas. And so I don't know. Ever since the Florida State game, Alabama's looked really good, but that Florida State game did happen, and they looked very pedestrian. There were some injuries in that game. So we're going to find out a lot. By the way, next weekend is definitely a park your butt weekend and watch some college football. It's all day. There are great games all day long. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see where things are after next weekend. I would say, though, going back to what I was talking about beforehand, Oregon looks really, really good. Miami looks really good. Miami looks like a really good team, a very complete team. They haven't played away from home yet, so that game at Florida State is really setting up to be quite the game. Florida State still has to get through Virginia next Friday, I believe. And then if that happens, you've got undefeated Miami versus undefeated Florida State in Tallahassee. Listen, those of you who are 40 years or older will know that if you go back years to the 90s especially, late 80s, early 90s, or most of the 90s, the Florida State-Miami game was the game. Hitting just athletes, guys who went on to have Hall of Fame pro careers. That used to be the rivalry. It used to be Miami and Florida State, and Florida State's definitely been up and down since 2000, 2001 when they won a national title. So it probably took them about a decade to win another one, which was 2013. And then in 2023, they went undefeated and probably should have been in the playoff. People could argue amongst themselves about that one. So they've been up and down. Miami, ever since they won the title, I think in 2000 or 2001, I can't remember, and then they lost the title against Ohio State, they have fallen off a cliff, and they have never reached the level that they were supposed to be. When they switched over to the ACC, people always called it the All Canes Conference. They've only played in one conference championship game in the 24 years they've been in the ACC, and they've never won the conference. So Miami being back is good for the sport. I think Florida State being back is good for the sport. Florida is not great, but they should be back. They'd like for Florida to be back because, again, anytime that those three teams especially, are playing well, it just makes the sport more interesting versus it just being Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and random fourth team. Props to Indiana. I mean, Indiana, not even out of nowhere. It's just that team gets a lot of hate for their schedule, but man, they put it on last night. That guy's done a heck of a job. That's one of the worst jobs in the country, and he's really turned it around. Signetti, I think, is the coach's name. So good on him. So anyways, all that to say, college football is alive and well. Very interesting to see. Definitely a shakeout Saturday coming next weekend. But let us get back to the purpose of this Victorycast, which is the Kennesaw State football Owls defeating the Arkansas State Wolves 28-21. I texted or tweeted yesterday. I don't think it's called that anymore. I don't know. Anyways, I put on X that Great win. Great job by the defense, which it was. I'm going to get my defibrillator because Kennesaw State really had the opportunity to blow this one and managed to play really well. Defense played great and hold on to win. Water break for a second. There we go. Now we're ready. So here's an old saying, and I don't know if I brought this up before. I think it was Bowden who said it, Bobby Bowden who said it. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is his quote. But it said, first you lose by a lot. Then you lose by a little. Then you win by a little, and then you win by a lot. We are in the phase right now, we're kind of in the middle of losing by a little and winning by a little. That's kind of right where we are. Right where, I mean, honestly, probably where we should be given the new change of coaching. But boy, does this product in the field look a lot better. Boy, oh boy, is Amari Odom going to be a problem if he continues to play like this for a lot of Conference USA teams. And it really does, the way things are shaping out right now, what I kind of thought was going to happen with this season and what may happen with this season, I still think 6-6 is still the goal. I'm going to keep saying 6-6. That's all I need. Give me 6-6, and let's get to a bowl game and get this product out there and become more popular nationwide. Make it a brand that people know about. But the way we're going to get there may be a little bit of a different path than what I originally thought. Just in looking at the common opponents, Liberty's looking a little rough right now, where Western Kentucky looks good. Jack State is up and down. Missouri State may be a problem. So we're going to see about that game. Originally, I picked that as a win, I think, looking back at the spring, but we're going to see. But let's talk about this game. Amari Williams, player of the game by far, 308 yards passing, 101 yards rushing. That seems like the quarterback controversy is now over. Amari Williams, wow, don't do that. Amari Odom started the game and finished the game. He played the entire game. Dexter Williams did not play at all in that game yesterday. So they went with the hot quarterback. They went with the best chance they had to win, and they really set the pace first thing in the first quarter. The preview podcast that I dropped earlier this week, I talked about that Arkansas State's weakness is their defense, and it was. And that our defense, all we need to do is get a few stops. You could force them to press, and it was there. It was there. And I'll tell you exactly where it is as I kind of go through the drives. I kept saying I wanted to eat up clock, not give their offense a chance to score because their offense is a strength. Their quarterback is a good player. But overall, let's just look at the numbers real fast. So total first downs, Kennesaw State 30 first downs, Arkansas State 18. So really controlling the ball there. Turnovers, which got to clean up, and I'll get to that in a second. Kennesaw State 2, Arkansas State 1. Penalties, Kennesaw State 7 penalties, 68 yards. Arkansas State 6 for 45. Again, got to clean up the penalties. Third down, Kennesaw State 7 of 13. Arkansas State 4 of 15, which meant that the defense was bowing up on third down. That's an incredible stat. Time of possession, Kennesaw State is at 32-25. Arkansas State 27-35, so definitely controlled the clock as well, which I love to see. Binyard had 114 yards receiving, but Odom led the team in rushing with 101 rushing yards. Diggs went down yesterday with an injury. Hopefully it's not too bad. We'll see what this week presents, and we'll see how long he's out for. All right, so Kennesaw State plays defense to start the game off. Arkansas State gets the ball, 3 plays, 3 yards, punt. Outstanding. Kennesaw State gets the ball, 5 plays, 75 yards, 1 minute, 14 seconds, touchdown, long pass. Love it. Arkansas State gets the ball back, 4 plays, 15 yards, punt. Kennesaw State gets the ball the second time, goes 6 plays, 38 yards, 2 minutes, 31 seconds, touchdown, Kennesaw State. 14-0. So far, in 2 drives, 2 touchdowns, first quarter. Arkansas State gets the ball. 3 plays, 6 yards, punt. Defense playing exceptional. Our third drive of the game, Kennesaw State's third drive, 8 plays, 82 yards, 2 minutes, 44 seconds with another touchdown, just eating up clock, long drives, going the distance, 21-0 into the first quarter. Arkansas State gets the ball. They go 8 plays, 44 yards. Defense steps up again, gets a fumble. Our fourth drive, 10 plays, 39 yards. On downs, we do not get the conversion. 3 minutes, 55 seconds. Arkansas State gets the ball. 5 plays, 7 yards, and a punt. We get the ball. Here's the turning point. 13 plays, 64 yards. First and goal at the 1. We fumble the ball. We cannot fumble the ball on the 1 yard line. If you get a touchdown there, it is 28-0. This game is over. Instead, you fumble the ball at the 1, you start giving them a little bit of belief. They go ahead and get the ball back. 6 plays, 71 yards, and a touchdown. The score is now 21-7. Our next drive, when we come out, nope, that's wrong. We get one more drive before halftime. 6 plays, 51 yards, another fumble, 1 minute 13 off the clock. We go to halftime. We get the ball coming out of the half. We go 5 plays, 27 yards. We fumble it now for the third consecutive drive. 1 minute 36 seconds. Arkansas State gets the ball. 8 plays, 49 yards, 1 minute 37 seconds. Touchdown Arkansas State, 21-14. Remember, it was almost 28-0. Now it's 21-14. We've got a little bit of a problem, Houston. Next drive for Kennesaw State, their 8th play of the drive, or 8th drive of the game. 8 plays, 56 yards, touchdown, 3 minutes and 21 seconds, 28-14. So just roll fast with that. You could have put them away. You're in a little bit of trouble. You're getting rattled a little bit. You got to learn to win. You got to learn to put teams away. But that's what you do. That's what you do as a newer team that's new to winning, is you have to learn these things. Seeing the response when they cut it to 21-14 to immediately go down the field and score a touchdown to make it 28-14 is exactly what you want to see. That is a mature response to that situation. To handling the pressure. Maybe you didn't handle it as well when it first happened at the end of the second half, at the beginning of the third quarter, but you did respond to make it 28-14. Back and forth. Arkansas State goes on this monster drive, 16 plays, 72 yards, 5 minutes and 38 seconds with a touchdown, 28-21, Kennesaw State. Now it gets a little bit annoying because there's a lot of throwing of the ball with our last few possessions instead of running and eating up the clock, giving Arkansas State the opportunity to drive down the field and score a tying touchdown. But the defense came to play and did not allow them to do that. The defense played terrific yesterday. Couldn't be more impressed or more pleased with the job the coordinator's doing, the players are doing, played hard. Just a great effort and exactly what we needed. The crowd was terrific yesterday, and I was saying that in the preview, like, let's get off to a fast start and get this crowd engaged and get them something to cheer about. And that's exactly what happened. And when that happens and people believe in a program, they support the program. They show up. They're loud. They become a problem to the other team. So another sellout at the Nest. That is great to see. Thrilled with that. And another win for the Kennesaw State Owls. So let's keep that going. So looking ahead a little bit, we're right in the thick of it. We're right there. Conference game next week against Middle Tennessee State, who lost to Marshall yesterday, I think, 42-21, something like that. So I'll preview that one later in the week, but I couldn't be happier. I really couldn't be. And if this is what Amari Odom's going to give us, then Kennesaw State's a problem. It's going to be a real problem for a lot of teams. If that defense is going to play the way that they're going to play there, then they're going to be a problem for a lot of offenses. And Kennesaw State's offense is going to be a lot of problems for some defenses out there. Now, remember, Arkansas State the week before was toe-to-toe with Iowa State, and it's tough to make comparisons between games and situations, but it happened, and Kennesaw State looked to be the better team by far yesterday, especially in the first half. You gave Arkansas State some life to come back, but you still pulled away when you needed to. Additionally, I'm going to go back to that Indiana game. I mean, look what Kennesaw State did at Indiana. And that was a real game for a while. You see this when you see what Illinois did yesterday at Indiana. Go back to the week one. Should have won that game, right? Should have beat Wake Forest. That changes the whole perspective of this program, honestly. And that's why that was such a frustrating loss. But then again, if Odom's playing that, who knows what could have happened? Coulda, woulda, shoulda. And you have no idea, right? There's a reason they go with Dexter Williams on the road for the first game of the season. There's a reason he was the starter. So we don't know that information. But where we are right now is in a great, great spot. Is 2-2. We're sitting at 500. We need 4 wins out of the remaining 8 games to go to a bowl game, which is very doable. And let's start this upcoming weekend. Again, another home game. And then the week after that, actually, it's really funny the way the schedule breaks down. I think I'm wrong about that, actually. So September 27th is the next game, which is the Middle Tennessee game. And then October 9th is the Louisiana Tech game. So if I'm not mistaken, I think that the Louisiana Tech game is a Tuesday night. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's right. So I think there's about a week and a half to get ready for that game. So that'll be interesting. Gives the team a chance to get healthy and to scout the team out a little bit. So I'm definitely excited about that. We'll see kind of what happens there. But I'll jump on and do a preview before the Middle Tennessee State game. And we'll see what we have. But, yeah, I'm just really excited for this team. I think that you can definitely tell, again, we didn't know in the spring when we were talking about this, what this coaching staff was going to be, what this team was going to be. We had no idea. But it does show that it was the right move to make the change. And I hope that the fans out there who were loyal to Bohannon can kind of see that. It's okay. It's okay when you can appreciate a coach that got you to a point, but you can also understand where it's time to go in a new direction now that you're in this new level of football. Both things can be true. Again, as we discussed beforehand, I didn't love the way that whole thing came to a close, but how does it ever come to a close in a good way, that both of you mutually agree it's time to part ways? I mean, that's the only way. And how often does that happen? So, no, I think all positive across the board, players, coaches, fans, the team, the university, just a great, great job overall. And it's so much more enjoyable to talk about a program that's winning, that you can see growing, that when you look at the numbers and the stats, you can say, we can get better here. We can get better with holding on to the ball. We can get better with our penalties. We can get better with our efficiency when we get to the opportunity to score a touchdown, to put a team away. We turn around, we hand it to our running backs, and we let them run in the middle 3 times in a row, 4 times in a row, if that's what it takes to get that touchdown, instead of relying on a quarterback sneak. It's just one of those things where let's not overcomplicate it a little bit with that. I am frustrated by that turnover to make it 28-0 and that not happening, because you gave life back to a team that was done. They were ready to check out. They were ready to call it a day, and you gave them life, and you can't do that. You can't do that going forward, but lesson learned, and that's what you learn lessons for. This is new. This winning is new, especially players who have been there. It's been a while. Now you've got back-to-back wins. What do you do with that? How do you absorb that? What impact does it have going forward? Now do you think you're so much better that you don't have to prepare the same? I hope not. I think you're more bought in. You're more vested about what we can do and what can be accomplished. Just the product in the field is a lot better. It's just a lot better. It looks very well coached. Looks very well coordinated. I love it. I mean, I can't be happier with what I'm seeing out there. Let's just keep growing, keep winning, and let's see where this season goes. So that's all I got. I wanted to give you a Victorycast. I look forward to many more as they come. Let's get another one here next week. All right, we'll talk to you soon. To Vegas, 4.5-point underdogs at home. Good luck with that. Adjust that going forward, I guess. You just don't walk in the nest and think you're going to get that win. So all that to say, great win. Have a great week, guys. Be safe out there, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.